A wave of disbelief has swept across the Vatican, and the entire Catholic world is trying to catch its breath. Something extraordinary has taken place, something bold, controversial, and perhaps even revolutionary. At the center of this storm is Pope Leo XIV, a man once regarded as a humble shepherd, now seen as a disruptor of centuries-old tradition. The papacy has witnessed dramatic moments throughout history, but few compare to the astonishing move made by this current pontiff. He has officially overturned a long-standing Vatican decree, one that many believed would remain untouched forever. When Pope Leo XIV stepped forward in front of an anxious crowd gathered at St. Peter's Basilica, few could have predicted the magnitude of what he was about to say. With a calm yet resolute voice, he made it clear: a major ruling that had defined church practice and shaped Catholic identity for decades was being annulled. He didn't soften the blow. There was no diplomatic phrasing. He declared the rule null and void, igniting instant uproar and awe within the Church and beyond. While Vatican officials have not disclosed the exact document by name, it's widely believed that the ruling had established firm doctrinal limitations on certain Catholics based on their personal situations, rendering them partially excluded from sacramental participation. This reversal is not just administrative, it's theological, pastoral, and deeply symbolic, and it raises a powerful question: who is Pope Leo XIV, and why did he take this leap? To understand the weight of his decision, we must first understand the character of the man himself. Born as Matteo Cardinali in the historic city of Florence, he was never seen as a climber in the ecclesiastical hierarchy. A soft-spoken theologian, with a heart for the poor, he spent years teaching, serving in disadvantaged communities, and challenging rigid structures within his local church. He avoided the spotlight, opting instead for authentic grassroots ministry. So when he emerged as the surprise choice from a highly divided conclave, many believed he would maintain the status quo. But that assumption would not last long. Pope Leo XIV quickly began meeting with people across the spectrum: academics, spiritual leaders, victims of church exclusion, and even those who had distanced themselves from the faith. His papacy began to reveal itself not as passive or ceremonial, but contemplative and daring. He immersed himself in prayer and theological research. He studied church history with intensity, searching for moments when mercy triumphed over law. And what emerged from that reflection was a conviction that the Church had in some ways lost touch with its core mission: to bring souls to God without unnecessary barriers. In his official address announcing the cancellation of the historic ruling, Pope Leo XIV spoke with deep emotion. What was once meant to preserve holiness has, over time, become a source of exclusion. And the gospel does not exclude, it invites. His statement landed like a thunderclap. Some bishops were seen shaking their heads, others clapped with quiet tears. In parishes across the world, pastors and parishioners sat stunned as news reports broke the story. It wasn't just that a rule had changed, it was that a wall had come down. Reactions were swift and divided. Traditional voices accused the Pope of undermining doctrinal authority. Certain cardinals even hinted at organizing a formal resistance, possibly through canonical channels. Prominent Catholic scholars expressed concern that such a decision might encourage doctrinal confusion or set dangerous precedents. On the other hand, bishops in underserved regions praised the Pope's courage, noting how many of their faithful had long suffered under the weight of this very policy. Yet for Pope Leo XIV, this wasn't a matter of popularity, it was a matter of conscience. Reports indicate he spent entire nights in silent prayer, often alone in the apostolic chapel. He consulted discreetly with theologians and canonists, even commissioning private research on how early Christian communities practiced inclusion. According to insiders, he was deeply moved by stories of those who had been cut off from full participation in the life of the Church, people who, despite their faith, were left outside the sacraments because of a decision made far from their lives. In leaked notes attributed to the pontiff, he reportedly wrote, "What we defend must always be Christ's love, not our own traditions. When the two are in conflict, we must choose the gospel." These words reveal not only his mindset, but the spiritual gravity he felt in making this decision. He was not simply acting as a reformer, he was acting as a shepherd trying to open the gate for those left outside. Of course, not everyone sees it that way. In Rome, tension is thick. Certain members of the College of Cardinals are said to be preparing formal questions for the Pope, requesting further explanation and theological grounding. Conservative Catholic media outlets have launched campaigns criticizing what they call a reckless overreach, while progressives have hailed the decision as an overdue act of pastoral wisdom. The Church now finds itself at a crossroads, with its faithful caught between tradition and transformation, yet Leo XIV remains undeterred. In a moving homily days after the announcement, he declared, "The Church was not built on rules, it was built on a person, and that person chose mercy." The words echoed through the Basilica and beyond, making headlines, inspiring hope, and igniting debate. In seminaries, rectories, Catholic universities, and dinner tables, his name is now spoken with reverence, concern, or confusion, depending on who you ask. But no one is ignoring him anymore. Sources close to the Vatican suggest that this act may be just the first in a wave of changes. Pope Leo XIV is reportedly considering additional reforms to bring church structure closer to the simplicity and compassion of the early Christian community. These changes may include greater roles for lay people, revised processes for pastoral care, and even a fresh look at how moral theology is taught and applied in practice. While the Pope insists he is not changing doctrine, his actions suggest he is unafraid to rethink how that doctrine is lived. Still, the stakes are enormous. Some fear that his decisions could lead to deep divisions or even a formal schism. Others believe he may spark the spiritual revival the Church has desperately needed in a time of global disillusionment and decline. But one thing is certain. Pope Leo XIV has taken the kind of step most popes only dream of. He has not just challenged a rule, he has shaken the foundation on which it rested. His message to the world remains consistent. He is not a revolutionary trying to overthrow the Church. He is a servant trying to reclaim its soul. And whether the world agrees with him or not, he walks with a quiet certainty that what he's doing is guided by something, or someone, greater than himself. For now, all eyes remain on the Vatican. But the real transformation may be happening in the hearts of ordinary believers, those who've felt unwelcome, those who've longed for understanding, and those who now feel the Church finally sees them. In cancelling one ruling, Pope Leo XIV may have opened a door to something far more powerful, the hope of healing, the call to compassion, and a Church willing to look into the mirror of its own soul. And so in the quiet halls of the Vatican, a single truth resounds. History is being made, not with fanfare but with faith, not through revolution but through revelation. And at the heart of it all is a Pope who dared to ask, "What does love demand?"